Hey, everybody. Who watched my video? Who saw the video? Was that fun or what?
I love the part where you take off your glasses.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
Was that awesome?
Lance, did you do it on your own, or did Becca have to throw the video for you?
He did it on his own and sent it to me and
Your
everything.
grandkids didn't show you how to do it at all?
Huh?
Your grandkids didn't show you how to do it?
No, but it would have been better had they. Because I did it the wrong way. I did it vertically instead of horizontally.
No, I meant.
Or Brian, he would say, hey, you need to do this horizontally and not vertically. So, okay, so here's the deal. This time of year, this is the time of year, you know, we talk about goals and quote resolutions and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And we all buy into it. I mean, we all buy into this thing of like, all right, it's first of the year, it's a new year, we're gonna change, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna get better, we're gonna, you know, and it's like, are we? Are we? Are we really? Are we talking? Are we just going, hey, yeah, you know, it sounds good, I think we'll do that, you know? So we have to look at it that way. And you're right in the spit zone.
Oh,
You're
perfect.
right in the spit zone. Yeah. So anyway, all this stuff goes on this time of year, and in real estate, this is the time of year. It starts kind of like latter part of November and goes into the like middle or end of January. And the idea is like, okay, where am I? What have I done? How did I do it? How can I take what I've done and expand on it? Okay, that's real estate. That's that every year you kind of look at that. That's how we're going to do it, you know, and it makes sense. And all of that is about numbers and statistics and, you know, sources of information and all those kinds of things. And all that works. And we're not going to talk about any of that. Okay, we're not, because everybody knows that. It's easy. It's simple. You know, you do this and boom, there it is, and it's numbers and it works, and that's your new goal. Here I want to talk about real goals, the real ones. I want to talk about the motivations in life that are goals. Those things that cause you to create those numbers and look at those numbers and think about those numbers and that kind of thing. Because, you know, maybe it's not happened to any of you in this room, but for me, I've set a goal and I've got these numbers and I'm going to see that and I'm going to go there and stuff like that. And I start doing that and something happens and somebody like knocks you down, or the people call when it's, you know, you're like so excited because I just double-sided the 350, like that, you know, and then they call and go, oh, it's hire unqualified. You know, they're not actually going to move. They thought they were, but the job transfer didn't work. All these things. And so all of a sudden I'm devastated. I'm devastated because I just lost the deal. Now my goal, I'm like, oh my God, I'll never hit it. And so I'm negative. And then I struggle with my goal because now it's just numbers. And so in my head, I kind of revise my numbers. Okay, well, I just lost 700,000. But I can revise and I can come back and I'll be okay. I'll be okay. But if you know your true motivation, if you know what's really in here, you'll never think about the number. You'll never worry about that problem. It won't become an issue because you've got a true motivation. You've got the reason that you want to see those numbers. Okay? You have the reason. Because when all this stuff is going on and people are calling and stuff cancels and your lender calls and denies you, of course, Amy never has done that to me. But, you know, when those things happen, you don't look at that and there it is. You don't see that, okay? Because you've got a long-range motivational focus that's way beyond that. You're looking down here because it's like, that's what I want. That's what I want. And you continue to move towards that because that's what you want in life. That's your motivation, because that's all goals are, is motivations. So my premise here is that let's not set goals. Let's set the reason for goals. Why? Why do you want to earn, a certain amount of money? Why? What's the why? Okay, so I want you to get out right now, and if you can, if you don't have paper, I have extra, because
Some paper.
So, and all I want you to do is just immediately, first thing that comes to mind, write down a goal. First thing, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Just write down a goal. Okay, your new goal is to keep a pen in your pocket. Salespeople have to have pens.
Write it down for me.
Or yeah, get somebody to help you so they write down your stuff for you.
No, I'm saying you write it down for him. Keep pens,
Oh, okay.
so you remember.
Yeah, there you go. It's a good idea. Good idea. Everybody write down a goal. Don't think about it too long. Just write down something. Just write down whatever it is. You don't have a pen either. Oh my God. Do you have a pen I can borrow?
What if I write in my notes on my phone?
Do you need one?
Why?
Yeah, I was just thinking that was my last one.
Because that's stuff. That's stuff. Everybody got one? Anybody got enough to share with me? Anybody? Randy?
Pay off, home mortgage. Pay off the mortgage.
Pay off your mortgage. Okay, that's a goal. Anybody else?
A health savings plan,
The health savings plan. Okay. All right.
and pay off the mortgage.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything you want to share?
Finish up my own stuff.
Finish up your,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Okay, those are good. Let's explore that a little bit. Why do you want to pay off? Why do you want to pay off your mortgage?
I think it's more of just the paying the interest is always something that it's always been something I just don't like.
Okay,
So
so you want to pay it off because you
yeah,
don't
when I
like
buy a
interest?
car, I try to buy a car and it's paid off in a year or two.
Okay.
House, so I see. Yeah.
Okay, so let me just throw this at you. If you keep paying the interest on your home, which is low by standards, it's extremely low, and instead of paying that off, you took that money and invested in a better investment, would you not be better off financially?
Yes.
Okay, then why?
Just because it's just that there's a point, I think, when you get to a certain age that you like to have things paid off, and that's where I'm at.
Okay,
So,
you're at a certain point in your life.
yes.
Okay, so it gets paid off, then what? What are you gonna do? Do you have extra money?
I have extra money to do some traveling.
So you want to pay it off so you can get on the road, you can do other things that are important in your life.
That's,
Now we're getting to motivations.
I know where you're going.
Okay, now we're getting to motivations.
There you go.
Okay, so let's get away from goals and get to motivations. Okay, so your bottom line, your motivation is you want to travel, as you get of a certain age, and you want to travel more, spend more time, see more things, that kind of stuff.
That'd be true.
Okay, okay, now we have motivation.
Mhm.
So when something slaps you in the face, because if you're just talking your mortgage, you go, I guess I'm having to make those extra payments. Not a big deal, not a big deal. But when it's like, I want to travel, I want to get on the road. Okay, see the difference?
So what if I said, no, I don't want to travel, I just want to pay off my mortgage? Then you would have, just because I would have put money someplace else, is that where you would have gone with that?
It's totally what your true down inside is. There's
It'd be a feel good kind of thing too.
well, absolutely. Yeah, but I don't, I'm trying to get the point that I don't want you justifying it,
Right.
because if you have to justify it, then it's not a motivation.
Right.
It's a goal. It's a goal which will get you to the motivation. Okay. You said health savings account,
Health savings, yes.
and
Um,
I don't want, when I do this one-on-one, it gets very personal, and I'm not trying to get real personal and get in your life, because one-on-one, we get into it, don't we? Teresa knows, we've had our first one-on-one, and we're coming back for more. She keeps putting it off, I don't know what that means. You know,
well, I'm getting a little older, but my wife is a little older than I am, and so we're
You
having.
better hope she doesn't watch this.
yeah, let somebody send her the video.
No, but
Just replay that one part.
so, but she worries a lot, and she's a worrier, and to give her peace of mind, I would like her to know that that's got taken care of.
Okay,
No matter what I say to her, no matter how much I've proven in the past, she still has that constant worry. And so, we don't know what the next 5 years, 10 years holds.
and the health savings account that's an annual thing that you put money in, or is the health savings account one that will allow you to carry forward?
I have to investigate it more. I'm not a fan of our.
It's a monthly thing. You put in so much a month, just like you would with health insurance.
Yeah,
And it accumulates in a credit union, because it's set up through a credit union.
yeah,
So everyone contributes to this credit union, and when someone has an issue, they go to the doctor just like you would with anyone else, and you give them the card, and then
okay,
the money comes out of multiple different accounts.
It's like pre-tax dollars, isn't it?
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
So, and there's only a couple companies, so when you're looking at it, there's only like 2 companies that currently you can do that you don't get penalized through, for not having the national health care.
so when we break that
I
health
do
savings
that.
account down, though, your bottom line is that you need to create a better atmosphere for your wife.
Yes.
So that she can be more comfortable, because if she's more comfortable, I'm guessing you're more comfortable. And
Exactly.
that's how it works in my house, okay? So are you starting to get the idea of how you write a goal? And then look at that goal, and then ask why. You need to get down another level. You need to get down into that goal so that you understand your true motivation. Because your true motivation will take you forward. It will stay alive in the face of anything that comes up. The true motivation stays alive. Okay? So does that make sense to everybody? Kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about, getting underneath of your written goal, your stated goal, that kind of stuff. By the way, written is best. They say that you actually tend to do it more if it's written.
It's not written, it's not a goal, it's a dream.
Yeah, I saw a deal, I was like reading through some things, just kind of getting prepared for today. And Tom Ferry has one, he said goals are just dreams with a date on them. They have a happens by date. I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, okay, so you're thinking about some, oh my God, that'd be so cool if, and then you go, and then you take it from if to when. And it switches from the dream and comes in and becomes a goal. Then you ask yourself, why? Why do I want to go here? What do I want to do? That kind of stuff. All right. So is that making sense to you? The underlying. Okay. And by the way, for any of you, if you ever want to do a one-on-one and push into that and get some understanding of that, because it's hard to do on your own. It's very hard if you don't have somebody to dig at you a little bit and figure some things out. So any of you are ever interested in that, you want to sit down, just call me. I'd be glad to do that with you. So now here's the next part then. So we look at our underlying reasons behind that we want to do a certain thing and that kind of stuff. Then we need to get to reality, okay? We need to get to the final thing. Is anybody's goal to have a car? Like that you want a car? That's a goal that you have?
Mine's acting up this week.
You're, okay, okay.
No, you're right there. That's all you.
We reserved it just for you, and I have paper for you to take notes on.
Thanks.
So-
So generous.
Yeah, I can take stuff like that. Okay, so you're thinking about a car maybe, that would be a goal.
I wanted, yeah, this may become a necessity.
Okay, yeah, and that, certainly that can happen. Okay, so tell me about the car.
It's got 150,000 miles on it.
No, not the one you have, the one you want.
Oh, my goal is to go all out. I want to go get a new Dodge Ram.
New Dodge Ram
Oh, yeah.
pickup.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what amenities?
I want all of it.
No, I want you to tell me. I don't, all of it doesn't, all that
I
says,
want
the dealer will tell me what I
No,
want.
I want the, no, I want the top of the line. I want the leather. I want the 4-wheel drive. I want the.
Heated steering wheel.
Heated
You
steering
said,
wheel.
you said all of it.
I
Yeah,
thought
you do
heated
that?
steering wheel was like, oh, that's silly. And my wife has it on her car, and I get in, I put it, I'm like, oh, that is so cool. It's just, I'm like, oh my God, that's so awesome.
I want to acquire a vehicle that's not going to make me want to envy somebody else that has something better.
Okay,
I want,
what
and
color?
I feel I'm in the
What color,
pathway to
what
do
color is it gonna be?
white,
White, interior?
tans, browns.
Okay, okay. You see where I'm going with the goal? I need details. You need details. If you've got a goal, don't just write it down, I want a new car. Get a picture of it,
I've got mine on the
Do you?
computer. It comes up.
okay? Yeah.
I already got it picked out.
Get it, perfect, exactly. Get it picked out. Get the colors, the amenity package, what it's gonna be like, everything about it.
I just got it
Everything.
next December.
Get it in, you know, so it's ready to go. That's where you need, those written goals have to be right to the detail, every detail. If it's like, I want to travel more, where? Where are you going? How are you getting there? Are you flying, you driving? What's it gonna be? Who's going with you? And, you know, you need that visual. When you say, I want to travel, you close your eyes and there it is. There it is. It's right in front of you. Okay? That's them taking the motivation, putting a goal to it to get there, and then visualizing that goal so that you see it. The best thing I ever did was a thing, we used to call it, it's called Sweat Hogs. And it was a training program. It was 11 weeks. And you met with the trainer every week as a group, and it had all kinds of things to it, and it was a pain, and you could be kicked out, and I mean, it was hardcore. And I took it 4 times. And not because I got kicked out. So I knew where you were going, you know. No, I finished each time. But what they did is they said, okay, you've got goals. Get pictures of every goal representation. And so I carried around on an 8.5 by 11 sheet that was inside of a plastic container, hooked to my key ring for my car, and on it was every goal I had in picture form. And I carried it with me everywhere I went. I'd take it, put it in my pocket when I went into a store or something like that. But I carried it with me. And that's what you had to do, because you wanted your goals with you all the time. You wanted them right there. You don't want to have like, oh, gee, you know, again. Boom, there it was. So I carried around a picture of 2 people that had graduation caps on. Because one of my goals was to pay for college for my kids. Okay? So, and I carried around the picture of the car that I wanted, the car, the exact car. Okay? I carried around a picture of the area that I wanted to go to when I traveled. The hotel, the beach, that whole thing, carried around a picture of it. That's when you accept a goal and make it real. You have to make it real. Because it's not real, you can get off course, you can get pushed away, sidetracked, those kinds of things. If you make it real and you put it out there and you carry this thing around and people go, what's the key ring? And you go, oh, these are my goals. I'm going to go here and I'm going to do this and this and this and this. And then they're like, oh shit, I'm sorry I asked, But you have it, it's there. And it makes you make it happen. It makes it happen. It's amazing but it does. Because when I put those goals together, I sold $1 million worth of real estate that year before. $1 million. I worked for a company that took half the commission. Okay.
Really?
So off of that $1 million of sales that I worked so hard to get that. I did $1 million worth of sales. I had gross income that year of $15,000. Thank you very much. Okay. But I decided that I was going to do something. And I wrote it down and I explored it and I found out my motivation and I put those pictures together of exactly what I wanted. 2 years later, 2 years, I put my kids through college.
Thank you for sharing.
It was important. It mattered. So I found the way. Because I wanted my kids to graduate without debt. That was my motivation. I didn't want them to get out of college and have $30,000, $40,000 worth of debt. So I found a way. And I made it happen. It's real. Commit to it. There's 2 words that I wanted to suggest to you. I met with a person yesterday. I met with this person. Sorry, I'm an emotional person. I always am. I met with this person and she was telling us about that she doesn't make resolutions. She gets a word. Has anybody ever heard of that before?
A word.
A word.
You said yeah.
A word. She said every year at the 1st of January, I pick a word. And that's my word for the year. That's what I do the whole year is about.
Like a motto.
Yeah. Okay. And so the word she had 2 years ago was focus. That was her word, focus. That's everything in her life went around that word, focus. And she grew her business and worked hard doing that. And the next year, last year, she came up with a new word, and it was commitment. And she used that word all of last year. She almost doubled her business last year because she didn't have a New Year's resolution. She had a New Year word. She didn't make a whole bunch of stuff. She didn't make a bunch of promises. She decided the word that she needed for that year was commitment. And she did. And this year, her word is growth. And she doesn't worry about all the other words. She doesn't try to group them together and make this, sentence of things. She just picks one word that she needs for that year. And she's moved forward. This year is about growth. So I'd encourage you to take a look at that, because that made me think. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Don't worry about all the other stuff. It's like one word. What's this year going to be? So if you don't have a word yet, think about it. Narrow it down to one. Don't try to multitask, you millennials. One word, and see how that works for you. Okay. Now, there's some ideas, because there are multiple things that you can have goals in, and it's called life. It's this big circle. And if any of you are Tom Ferry fans, you may have seen this before. I'm a big Tom Ferry fan. I think he's awesome. Love his talks and how he does things. But he put together a circle. And he made this big circle. And around the circle, he wrote these things and made them each a pie. Health, family, career, travel, contribution, relationships, social life, and wealth. Those were his choices. He took each one of those. They're all the facets of life, everything that we have in our life. You know, what's our, so yes.
Would you mind saying?
What was that, 8? Was that 8 of them?
Yes. Health, family, careers. By the way, I have it on a pass-out sheet. Okay. But family, career, travel, contribution, relationships, social, and wealth. And you put them around the circle, and you make a pie. I didn't know that was there. You make a pie of that circle. Each one has a slice in it, and in the middle you put a dot. And the middle is 0% of satisfaction with where you're at in that area, and the outside is 100% satisfaction in that area. And you decide where you're at in each slice of that pie, and you fill in. How satisfied am I? You know, it's like, you know what, I'm about 50%, and you fill out 50% of that pie. And don't worry about all the rest of them. You do one at a time. Just do each one of those pieces. Okay? And when you get done with your pie, you sit back and look at it, and it's pretty visual of where you want to do work. What you want to work on, because that's your self-assessment. It's not somebody else telling you you're good at this, but not so good at that. You know, it's you telling yourself personally, one-on-one, just you. This is where I am in my life. This is where I am with my health. You know? And health is like, you know, you're going to work out, eat better, all that stuff. You know, and you know, maybe it's a health checkup. I mean, Randy, you and I, you get to be a certain age, you know, you gotta go get checked out all the time, you know. So whatever that is, but health, you know, is one that you can work with. And relationships, pretty intense. What are your relationships like? Because if you're like me, you know, you're like, okay, well, I have this relationship here and this relationship here and this relationship here. And what I find is that they're all separate and completely and totally interdependent on each other. You know, because if I'm like having good relationships and I'm married like that, and I go home, amazingly, the relationship with my wife is better. And if I'm like really crappy in my relationships, our relationship tends to suffer, you know? So I think overall with relationships, what do you need? Do you need to be a better person? Do you need to call more? Do you need to understand better? Do you need to listen better, you know, to what goes on in life? What are your relationships like? Fill out the amount. So each one of those works towards that. And you can work on each of those. Okay? What are we doing on the top? I don't want to go crazy. So I'm going to have these passed out because this is just that little bit that I talked about, because I think these are important. We just kind of pass those around. That's about that, and it's about the circle and what you put in the circle and how you fill that out. And it's just a self-assessment. And it helps you decide, you know what, I need to work in this area just a little bit more. And you might find that your true motivation is inside some of these pieces of pie. You might find that this area of my life could use some attention. Because we try to do it all. I mean, we're trying to work on all of it and all that kind of stuff. But it may be that we need a motivation inside of one of those pieces of pie. And that we need to move forward with that a little bit. We need to understand that better. Okay. So the last thing I want to talk about, and again, if you're a Tom Ferry fan, that's where it comes from. I want to give full credit. It's about the 5 letters. Everybody know about the 5 letters? There's 5 letters that will change your life. Okay? And what we do is we apply these 5 letters to anything that we run across. So in business, you know, you're an agent in business and you do listing appointments, or you just have a servicing that you're doing. All of these things that are part of your business. And when you go out and talk to somebody, it's like, oh, I do this, and this, and this, and this, you know, and you tell them all about it. And they're like, oh, the other agent I met with kind of told me the same thing. Okay, kind of told the same thing. If that's the case, that means that you're ordinary. It's an ordinary listing president. It's a good one, don't get me wrong. It's a good one, but it's ordinary. Your workouts. You go to the gym, you're working out and your stuff like that, and you work hard. You sweat and all this kind of stuff. And you look around, everybody else is doing the same thing. It's ordinary. And we spend a lot of our life, because we have all these tasks that we need to do. We have things that are required of us. We have stuff, you know, in our life and our relationships and all that stuff is part of the circle. And we all work hard at it. And you know what? We tend to be ordinary. We just do. We tend to be ordinary. Okay. So what I want to do is challenge each one of you to add 5 letters. EXTRA. I want you to be extraordinary. Not just ordinary, extraordinary. Everything you do when you look at it, if you add those 5 letters, whatever it is, relationship, business, planning, social, whatever it is, if you add those 5 letters, that will change your life. I guarantee you, because it changes your attitude, it changes the way you look at it, and thus changes the way you attack it, the way you approach it, the way you accomplish it. Because you're not going to be ordinary anymore. You're going to be extraordinary in each of those things you decide to do. You're going to be extraordinary at it. And when you have the attitude for extraordinary, it happens. You make that decision. I'm not going to have a good relationship with my spouse. It's not going to be just ordinary. It's going to be extraordinary. This is one that I haven't done and I need to. We're going to go home, sit down, not turn on the TV, and talk. Scares the crap out of me. I'm like, about what? What? But if I want to be extraordinary at that relationship, don't you think that's what I have to do? We have to talk. So that mindset says, this is going to change. This is going to be different. I'm going to be extraordinary at my relationships. I'm going to be extraordinary at my pursuit of perfection in real estate. Imagine buyers and sellers that view your service as extraordinary. Imagine that. Do you think they'd mention it to somebody? Do you think they'd call you and go, hey, call my friend because they were talking about buying a house. And I think you could help them. It changes you. Okay? Add 5 letters to your life and make a difference in the world. Make a difference in the business, in your commitment, in your contributions, whether it be to society or Concepts Cares, I don't care. It's a contribution. You know, volunteering to do something, to help something, to that kind of thing, that's a contribution. It's because you're giving of yourself and your time. It's a contribution. You know, maybe I don't have, a couple $100 I just want to throw out to somebody. But maybe I can take an hour and go someplace and apply my skill set, or if nothing else, my ass and back, and carry things around. That's a contribution. It makes a difference. It makes you different. Okay? I want you to think about that. Each time you're planning on something, each time you're thinking about something, I want you to have that difference. And when you're setting your goals, there's 2 types of goals that you want to work on. You want to work on the long range, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Where do I want to be? What do I want to be doing? What's going on down there? Okay, somewhere out in the future, what's that going to be like? And then you want to do short range. And those are things, because you know what, we all need that satisfaction thing. We need to set goals that are short-term, short range, that we can achieve, because then when we achieve it, we're like, I can do that. I can do more. I can make this happen. I can be better at what I do. I can be better at who I am. Okay? So set your long range goals, look out there and say, okay, 5, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. My 15-year goal is still to be alive. And so I'm doing the short range goals to help with that. Okay? It's real. It's real. So you have 2 different sets of goals that you need to work towards. One of those is that you need to have an economics plan. Economics plan. That's not just how much money I'm going to make. It's what I'm going to do with that money, how I'm going to make it work, those kinds of things. You have to have an economics plan in your over long-term, long-range goals. Okay? Otherwise, it's not going to happen. You'll have this amazing year of real estate. Oh my God, this is wonderful. And the next year it's not quite as good, because that happens, doesn't it? Okay, you kind of have that up and down. The next year is not quite as good. You're like, oh, shit, I should take some of that money and put it away. I should have planned. I should have put some in here. I should have put some in there. I should have paid that off, or I should have bought this, or whatever. But if you have an economics plan, who knows? Maybe you're getting married. You need an economics plan.
Maybe, actually.
Yeah, so you need an economics plan. And then you want to talk about your wants. Your wants, okay? And for wants, it's not short-term, long-term. It's little things and it's big things. They tend to work the same way. The little things you can get pretty quickly, the big things will cover, and it takes longer. But think about the little things. What little things do I want? Maybe you want a laptop. Maybe you want an iPad. Whatever it is, some little thing. What do you want? Work towards that. That's one of those where it's like, I got it. Next. What is it? What's that thing you want that's short, small, easy, that you can do? And then long term, maybe it's, a little longer term. I don't know, with your car, you said December. That's not terribly long term, but it's not really short. but it's a plan out there, you know? And you have to have an economics plan behind that, right? To make that happen. So think about that. And the other thing is personal development, and that encompasses a few of those different pieces of pie that we're talking about. But personal development, that's you becoming a better you. You know, it's the changing in your life. And you do it through reading, and, you know, a lot of people read a lot. I don't. That may be why I'm stunted that way. But you know, it's a commitment to be personally better. You know, and maybe it's that I want to be more knowledgeable about a certain scenario. I want to be more knowledgeable about some kind of real estate. You know, I want to be more knowledgeable, be better at that. So I'm better at my job, you know. Or maybe that you just want to, you know, make commitments to relationships and those kinds of things, and you want to get better. Maybe it's part of it is the health aspect where, you know, I'm going to get better because I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to work out and I'm going to eat better and it's going to work. That's personal development as well, because, you know, a healthier body gives you a healthier mind, makes you feel better, your attitude changes and all that kind of stuff. So it's all joined at the hip. Okay. So one thing that it surprised me. One thing was in this business, you know, you all heard the term fake it until you make it, you know, and we use it, and you know what, it's real. It's a very real thing. And one of the things of faking it till you make it is attitude. Okay. And I learned this from Tony Robbins. And it's like when you're in front of somebody, especially when it's customers, clients, that kind of stuff, and you're talking to them and you're like, yeah, we're going to do, you know, and you're talking with them. If all you did was move just a little tiny bit, because the difference is I went like this, from here to here. It will change the perspective of the person you're talking to. Just because, you know what? I'm determined. I'm confident. Confidence comes from knowledge for me. That's where I get confident. If I go to a listing appointment, I have to know about that area. I have to know about those schools. I have to know about that style. I have to know. When I know, I don't go in like, see your house, yeah, work, do that kind of stuff. I go in like, hey, let's take a look at this thing. I'm confident. And I express that. Be aware of yourself, because other people are. They're aware of how you approach life. Is your head up or down? You walk confidently. It's real. It matters, especially in this business. It matters. If you're confident, they'll be confident in you. That's how it works. Okay? So, and I understand we're in a service industry. Okay? We are. But we don't approach it as I'm your servant. That's not how it works. We're in the service industry. I approach it from I'm confident I can provide you with the things you need to make this better for you. I'm confident. Think about that. Little things. Look at yourself in the mirror. Now, I'm not talking about your makeup, your hair, or, you know, any of that kind of stuff. Look at yourself in the mirror and take a look and look, if your shoulders slump just a little bit, just a little bit, it changes. It changes you. Stand up, shoulders back. Be confident. It'll change the way people see you, the way people work with you, the way people interact with you. It will change everything about your life. Okay? Anybody got questions? I know he came here thinking this was gonna be a mastermind, not a talk by me, but. Do you have questions about anything? How something works, what something's about, that kind of stuff? No? God, I did a hell of a job.
I think, for a lot of, newer agents or really for a lot of people, this is really kind of a nuance. It's kind of like they've heard about it or they might have been someplace, but really you're spot on with the why part of it. And so sooner that somebody understands why, then things will move forward from that. And it's kind of a sad thing with the school systems. They really don't teach a lot of this
Yeah.
why part of it. And so once you kind of understand that part, plus the economics of it, I think it kind of clicks.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. If you have the motivation, the true inner motivation to do something, it will get done. You'll do it. There's just no question. You'll give up what you have to. Don't get me wrong. When you're like, this is what I want, there's this, I'm willing to give up some of this to get it. Okay, there's no like perfect world. You get everything you want. It's wonderful that you give up something. That's real. That's how it's going to be. So you have to give up something to get where you want to be. But is that important to you? If it's a true motivation, it will be important enough for you to give something else up. It's like my ongoing constant struggle with, I want to be thin, but I really love to eat. And so it's an ongoing battle. It's an ongoing battle. So,
There's an author that wrote a book about the one word. His name is John Gordon, and it's called The One Word.
oh, okay.
And then you can go online, and there's 3 different posters to print out your word. So I always have it like posted in my bathroom, in my office, because you constantly see that.
Yeah.
And it's your word, like it's whatever comes to you. So it doesn't have to be fancy or
Is that Gordon?
Gordon.
Gordon. Amy, do you have anything you want to share with us? Anything about the business side of your world?
Well, holy cow, it's so busy, and I think you guys can all see that too. Like, we've been working till like 7 or 8 o'clock at night just to get deals done.
What?
So,
You work after hours?
yeah, I know. I just got 100 brownie points from a client because I responded to his email on Saturday. He's like, "What? I wasn't expecting
Was it a
that."
he or a she? I know a she that you got a lot of points with.
Oh, yeah. No, actual client. But it's busy, and that's great. I think the fact of offering no down payment and no PMI has been huge, and it's something that's new to this market. And so once people understand it and they're seeing the signs, our signs with your signs, it's been great. So we do still have the 30-year fixed. We're really hard to beat on the interest rate. But I probably in my pipeline have about half and half 30-year fixed and half adjustable rate mortgages.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Nothing? Shane, anything?
I don't have any questions, no.
Okay.
No, I actually though, to Lance's topic, we talked about, Lance probably seem repetitious on this stuff a lot, but it's something that if you truly focus on, will make you better and more successful. So just to kind of show you what can happen when working hard, having the right structure, and your why is big enough. And I've always wanted a good time to do this, and this is a good time. Who here is actually knows my backstory? Raise your hand if you know. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Okay, so quick backstory. I've been in real estate since May of 2009. I was a builder before that. When I got into real estate, I was in foreclosure and I was bankrupt. I had borrowed money from my father-in-law to get my license. I borrowed money from my aunt for my bankruptcy. I was living off $300 a week. My why, family not to be homeless, kids to have food. That was my why. So Lance said you trade things for certain things. I traded time. I was still working construction in the morning. I would work till all hours of the night and early morning on real estate until I got to where I wanted to be. And since then, I still set extremely ambitious goals every year. I don't always hit them, so then they roll over to the next year. but the why was big enough. So the actions were big enough. And the results are big. So now, is it 7 years? 7 years later, we're here. So if you work hard enough, anything is attainable. So again, that's there's a lot more detail to it than that.
Yeah.
That's a quick snapshot of it. But within a year and a half, and it's not a secret that most of our business was built on short sales. I was so good at short sales because I went through it. That is what made us good at it. So that, again, that's a quick backstory, but within a year and a half, I was able to quit the construction thing, and I was full-time doing real estate, and every year I've climbed since. So life's big enough, anything's possible.
Thank you.
Oh, and I will say the first year in real estate, and I've showed people this, my gross, the first year in real estate was $15,000. So for you, those others in here in our rookie of the years and stuff, that's in comparison. And we're close.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the bottom line. Is it a motivation? If it's a motivation, you'll do it. Find your motivation. Find what's inside you. Instead of working on the surface and I can do this and I should do that kind of stuff. Go down, get in one more level and find out what the true motivation is. Find out your why. If you know your why, all the rest of it comes together for you. It's really that simple. I'm oversimplifying it, but it's true. Just find out why. If you do, you'll achieve whatever you decide. Thank you so much for coming.
And if you've never done a one-on-one with Lance, I don't know.